Let me ask you something. Are you having problems with your trick stabs? Are you having problems with better opponents? Are you having problems at all in TF2 playing Spy? If you answer yes, then you found the right video. I'm telling you right now, this video is going to help you big time. So if you have these problems, you missed something. You missed something important, and I see it all the time. What that thing is movement. I see it all the time. Spies have been playing, even 300, 400 hours, and they've done all this practicing for trick stabs and different techniques and all this stuff. Let me tell you right now, those tricks are only as good as you can move. Now I'm going to tell you some stuff in the beginning, and I want you to think about it throughout the whole video, because it's going to make more and more sense as you watch the video and I explain it. Now, movement is a channel which players communicate through that is open to manipulation. Everything we do in this game that we don't communicate through text or voice is communicated through our movement. So the first step in this video to becoming an excellent spy is forgetting your old definition. It's not moving from point A to point B. The definition I use and the definition all spies should use is that movement is a channel, the main channel, in which players use to communicate with each other, that's completely open to being manipulated. And everything about your spying is going to be constructed around that idea. It's key to understand that. So think about that as you watch the video. Alright, so let's jump into it. I'm going to teach you guys, first up, some stuff about dodging and juking. So this is my brother. I told him to come into a game with me and try and kill me as quickly as he can in melee range, and I'm just gonna try and dodge everything. And while he does hit me a few times, I dodge a lot of his attacks, and this allows me to charge up my DR several times, and on top of that, to finish him with a trick stab, even though his tracking is way better than the average opponent. His tracking is as good as my tracking. So let's look at this clip. I'm going to try and explain how this is done. So I move to the left and towards him to get him to swing. And then I quickly move to the right as he's swinging. I'm setting him up to swing in a certain direction so I can specifically dodge that. Now this becomes easier the closer you are to a person. This is why this is a really good technique to buy time to charge your DR or make an escape plan. Now watch what happens here. When I jump over him, he's going to turn to my right because that's where I'm standing when he turns around. I know that's going to happen, so I quickly strafe to the left. And the reason I know that's going to happen at that second is because he's entering melee range. All of it is premeditated. You're setting people up to fail. Now the interesting thing is that my brother's, he's good. I mean, he'll be able to kill me a lot of times just by good tracking and if we're going in open spaces and I'm trying to dodge like that. But the second props are introduced, or corners, or elevation, it becomes a lot more complicated. This clip, for example, just to hit me the first time, it took him over 10 seconds. Okay, now I'm gonna try and explain why it's so much harder for him to hit me once, a simple prop is introduced, once a little ledge is introduced. A lot of it has to do with strafing. I mean, I jump straight, which makes him think I'm going straight, but then I strafe to the right. This gives me a lot of distance in front of him. And then by the time he gets to that end point, I'm already too far for him to even get up. So with elevation, besides being able to strafe, you can also juke people like this without looking at them. When you do stuff with your back turned to the opponent, that dramatically increases the chance of it working. Then we have the little move I talked about, but this time I don't go into melee. I jumped right on that little mound, so I could jump right back over it. And that's one of the benefits of being the mouse and not the cat, is you can make choices that you're prepared for, but they won't be. I move into melee to stop him from jumping over, because I know if he jumps over, he's going to be on top of him, and he falls for it. So we already know how this is going to end. So let's just skip ahead and I'll comment that. And then here we go again. I bait him to the left, into melee range, he swings left, I move right, and he dies. I showed you these clips in the beginning because I want you to understand that movement is a weapon, just like anything else in this game, but it's the most important weapon. You can use it in so many different ways. Right here, I strafe just a little bit to make him think I'm going downstairs, and look at the huge distance that created. The reason things like this are possible is because nobody can react the same second that you do your movements. That would be impossible. There's always going to be a delay, and that's what you can take advantage of. Alright, now let's shift gears and see an escape example. Some of the moves I already told you about you're going to see in this clip. See if you can spot them. So there were some new and some old. Okay, now let's see the moves I do. I'm going to point them out. No moves yet, air blasted. He knows I'm going for the health. Go for the health anyways. Then I'm doing a left and right juke. And then once I see I have his attention, I can do the front facing juke on him. And look how he moves. It's always going to be the same. They're going to move to the spot you were a split second ago. And then I can fake like I'm going up the stairs and come back down and try and do it over again. And it's really important that you notice that, because that's what makes your trick stabs work. It's all based on your movement. Now anytime a pyro flames up and down or straight in front of them, you can just strafe right out of the spread. Now imagine how different this would have been if right here at this point, when I hit the ground, I turned to look and then did the jump. Three things would have happened. One, I would be telling him exactly where I'm going. I would be losing time because I'd be turning first. And third, I'd be taking my eyes off of the opponent. Guys, really get used to using those strafe keys and that back key. That is essential to good movement. And that's something that I practice a ton. The reason I started practicing that was because I want to do stuff faster. I want to do stuff as fast as I could. And I don't always want to tell people what I'm going to do next. I don't want to look and tell them, oh, I'm going to do this next. I want to be unpredictable. And it's all about those strafe movements and keeping your eyes on the person and then adjusting your movement based on how they're moving or how you think they're going to move before they do it. Look how I jump off of this railing. Seems normal, right? Just a normal jump, whatever. Okay, then I'm going to show you like a minute later in the game, I do the same jump, but there's people around. You see that strafe? This is why strafing is important. I jump and then I look at them long enough to see where the safe places are and where the dangerous places are, and then I strafe right into the safe spot. I'm not stopping and making a decision. I'm jumping and making the decision while I'm already jumping and moving. Do whatever you can to improve your strafing. Go play on jump maps if you have to. That's probably how I think I did it. Learn rocket jumping if you have to. Whatever it takes. I love the invisibility watch. The reason I love it is because you can create awesome illusions with great movement. Right here, let's start off with something that is an escape movement, but it's also an illusion. I move to the left, right as I go fully invisible, and he moves to the left, and that creates a nice opening for me to move to the right and get out. It all goes back to what I said in the beginning, that movement is a channel that's open to manipulation, and you're dictating where everybody's moving. And this concept just becomes even stronger with something like the invisibility watch. When you can do stuff like this and pretend like you're jumping off a building when you're really just messing around. I'll try to utilize all my keys, my back keys, my strafe keys. And in this clip I used 2 different illusions to get rid of 3 different people. Now I'm looking that way, so they're firing that way, but look, I turn around, and then right as I go fully invisible, I spin the other way, and just like that, I got rid of 2 people. Then once they're gone, I can do my little thing, kill somebody, and last guy gone, got him with the jumping illusion. One of the big things that you need to understand about movement is doing things quickly by itself can be an illusion. Whether that's cloaking and decloaking really quickly, or just moving fast, skipping props, jumping over things. Everyone has an internal clock in their head as to how long something's going to take, and you can really mess with that. It all starts with your movement. All the illusions, it's about the movement. Here, a backward strafe in the air. Second I go invisible, I stop myself mid-air, and that makes him think I got air blasted way farther than I actually did. Do you guys see how it works? You're essentially controlling people with your movement. You're telling them to do things. Now this guy right here, after I stabbed him, he thought it was a face stab, but then he watched my stream and he saw the explanation and he realized that, yeah, that's exactly what happened. I stopped after a fake jump, and of course he doesn't know that's a fake jump. So he turns around because he thinks I'm going to do a jump stab. This is why it's so important to truly have an understanding of how movement works. It's combined with psychology. They work together. Better opponents are going to know what a jump stab is, like I've said before. They're going to anticipate that happening. And you can anticipate them anticipating that and then do something like that. That's how you really get them. That's my secret. It's my real secret. So here's my brother again. Trick stab. I trick stabbed him a lot of times. I'm not going to show every time, but it was a lot. And I asked him, you know, why is this working? He knows you're a good player. You know it's going to work. You have good tracking. He just says, I'm too quick. And he's right. I am quick. And that's a big part of movement. But it's also understanding how you can manipulate other people. And also understand what movement isn't. This is a trick stab that isn't really about movement. This is more about blind spots and timing, stuff like that. They can't see me. They probably don't know these props are here either. And that's why that one works. So in contrast, let's look at a trick stab that does require good movement. Here I move quickly. It requires quick moving. It requires a strafe. And it requires a quick jump and then jump at it, which is an important move for, you know, stair stabs like that. So I don't want to make this video too long. I want to end it here. Yeah, this video should really help. I hope it does. I want to see people get better. But I want you guys to know that the foundation of everything that I built on spying started with movement. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a really long time to learn. Go out and be the best.